Hey, it's Matt Mosley, the Matt Mosley Show, America's fastest growing show, YouTube, everywhere else you get your podcast. But each day you can get on YouTube and watch us, subscribe. We love having you. We like your comments. In fact, sometimes we'll put the comments right up there on the screen. And what I try to do is just send Scotty Swingler about 17 different things to put on the screen. And then we do that. And then soon we're working on it. Our presenting sponsor, Ascension Providence. Look at that, Scotty. That's a gorgeous on that bottom scroll there. But we're working on the our logo for Central National Bank, my longtime presenting sponsor. We're so appreciative of them. In fact, shout out to Brian Fonville. He's been watching, hopefully from the office, although I don't know if he's supposed to do that. I mean, he's a major banking executive, but we're working on a beautiful graphic that will be on the screen when we're talking about CNB. So lots to do there. Last night, I mean, let's get right into this because we do have some breaking Cowboys news to share with you, but I also want to talk about my night at the ballpark last night. The Shift 4 Club, Shift is the word, and the it's a fun place to hang out. Huge buffet before the game. I get there. We make our way to our seats, and the Brew Crew is in town, and what a game it was. Jack Leiter looked really good for the Rangers until he made his own mistake, and he was going to get out of the inning and, I mean, get into the – I mean, it would have pitched 5 innings. He would have looked great. He could have kept them off the board, and he – slows down a hot shot up the middle, and he reaches down, and all he's got to do is throw it to first, and the inning's over. And Rangers at this point are up 1-0, and he can't pick it up. These pitchers aren't always great when it comes to fielding. And you'd say do all your FIP or FPI, whatever they call that, where you're pitching in spring training. You're working on your pitching defense, PIP, FIP. Anyway, you're working on that like crazy. And then Scotty, I knew it. Man, look at that gorgeous Central National Bank graphic. In fact, Scotty, this will be our executives over there, Joe and Brian and Veronica and everybody will really love this, but I think this is a good part of a live show is me just taking a big photo of it. Okay. I think that is really what people tune in to see. And that's good. That's good, Scotty. That looks really nice. That is our presenting sponsor. It has been for a long time, and we appreciate them so much. And I'm sending this out as we speak. Me taking a picture of my screen, of me on the screen, kind of a selfie, if you will. But excellent work, sir. Scotty's got a lot on his plate today. Mostly his focus continues to be on the Mosley Show. And Scotty, we're doing all kinds of things today. Somebody mentioned it to me that they'd like to see me do some things to my background. I've got my wife, who's an interior designer. She's on it. I mean, who knows what we'll come up with, but it will be gorgeous moving forward. But right now, I kind of like that. I think the Central National Bank logo has really spiffied up the joint. So I am appreciative of that. Okay, here's where I was. I went to the baseball game last night. And we'll have a lot of Baylor on, all our Baylor people who join us each day. Get your comments in, get your questions in. Got a lot of thoughts on the whole Baylor thing. They get ready to play Samford. I've got thoughts on Sawyer. The great news is Sawyer is starting to get noticed nationally. We're starting to see more and more comments made. And so all that is very good. And in fact, he'll be a big part of our Green and Gold Game Day pregame show on Saturday out there. That'll start 3 hours before kickoff. And then Faith and I and Scotty will take you 9 to 11 right up until kickoff. And then I'll race up to my spot in the press box, and we'll all get in position to watch this game. As 0-2 Samford comes into town, you just need to take care of business. The standard is the standard. I mean, ask K-State. Army was coming in there off of an embarrassing loss. And Army had lost to Tarleton State, and Army turned around and beat Kansas State. If you're not ready, the Samford, what are they, Scotty? The Bulldogs or something? The Samford, I think they're Baptist as well. It's another good Baptist school. They're in Birmingham. These Baptists will get after you. So the Bears need to be ready for that as they come in there and play. Now, last night, where was I? Oh, yeah. Rangers game. I'm sitting there, had awesome seats to the game last night, and Leiter lets it get away from him, and he forfeits a 1-0 lead. Rangers are trailing 3-1. They come right back. The bottom of the next inning, I guess it would have been the bottom of the fifth. They're trailing 3-1. And Michael Hellman, this rookie, they have Cody Freeman, they have Alejandro Osuna. These Rangers have all these rookies that are playing, and, man, they're fun to watch right now. So, but, I mean, the Brew Crew are the best team in baseball. I mean, Scotty, have you seen their record? It's like 81-59. Does that work out? Something like that. It's incredible. And you look and you're like, well, how are they doing this? Because, yeah, Yelich, Christian Yelich, I know him, and I know their center fielder, but, like, nobody's just off the charts. All the OPSs are like 800, 700s. Like, nobody in their lineup is just off the charts, but they're all pretty good. 16 home runs, 27 home runs for Yelich. Somebody will have like 18, somebody will have 12. They're just kind of all pretty good. And they all play their position really well, and they're just good. They're the freaking Milwaukee Brew Crew. They're the Brewers. But with a runner on first, there was a walk right before he comes up, and there's my man Michael Hellman, who I'd been talking about on the show yesterday, and I'm like, let's see what he does. And if that sucker doesn't jack one out of the park to left, about 380 to left, the night before he had a grand slam. And, I mean, it's the dangest thing you've ever seen. I mean, he drove in 5 runs the night before. The Rangers won 5-0. Last night, before he hits the game-tying home run to make it 3-3, and then the Rangers end up winning that game last night 5-4. Before he does that, when Leiter's still out there and the Rangers are clinging to a 1-0 lead, they hit a rip shot to center. He tracks it down, and it's a 2-run home run saving play in center. Michael Hellman, I think he's number 24. I mean, think about that. You got Freeman playing second. You got Hellman playing center. And I just said to my buddy, sitting next to my buddy Ronnie Foss, went to Baylor, singer-songwriter, an executive with the Dallas Mavs. Good guy. And he got the tickets for us, so I give him a shout-out for that. And who did these tickets come from last night? What is that guy's name? There's some guy that goes to all the Mavs games that got us those tickets, and I should give him a shout-out, but I can't think of his name right now. But he's a good dude, too. But I'm sitting there, Scotty, and I say to my buddy, man, look at this young guy. I'm like, I don't know how good of a center fielder is. It looks like he has some speed out there. But, like, what if this guy is, like, great and he's out there playing center field for the next 10 years? Michael Hellman is 24 years old. Who knows, how long he'll be. Well, wait. Cody Freeman, I think, is 24. Michael Hellman, one of these guys that was playing for the Rangers, is like 29. Well, Michael Hellman played for A&M. We'll look this up. He might be 29. I might have Cody Freeman, maybe the one that's 24. Osuna's like 23 or 24. They've got so many rookies. But anyway, Hellman's coming off a grand slam the night before, and then he goes and he saves that home run to center. And I had just been talking. I'm like, what if this guy's really good out there? Like, what if you can't get him out of center field if he's that good? And he goes and he brings one back in. He races back there to the wall and brings it in. My gosh, that was fun last night as the Rangers continue to get it done. And I was just looking at, and by the way, at 2:30 today, we will have, and he's got a lot on his plate right now. But the exciting thing is, we do have the Aggies are going to Notre Dame. All right. I do have an Aggie daughter now, crazy. She's a freshman there, but they're going to A&M. And we talk a lot of Big 12. We talk a lot of SEC here. So for you Aggies out there, the big time Aggie insider for KBTX, longtime newspaper, he's a news writer for the Bryan's College Station Eagle. He was with the Star Telegram before that. Travis Brown is going to join us around 2:25 or 2:30 today, and we'll talk A&M going to Notre Dame because there's a lot of, we got a tons of Aggies in Central Texas, and so the Aggies, and we talk about KC Concepcion. We talk about this incredible new defensive end the Aggies have. Cassius Howe is his name, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I did want to stay with the Rangers for just a minute. Rangers need they got the Astros to lose. So, they're back in the actual AL West race, if you can believe that. The Mariners had been in a bad way, but they have a little win streak going right now. They've won either 3 or 4 games in a row. And so the Rangers are, I believe, a game and a half back in the wild card. But, the Rangers right now, the Astros and the Rangers of that series, if there's a tiebreaker, the Rangers lead the series 6-4 with 3 games to play. Those games are going to be in Houston September 15th through the 17th. Rangers will go to the Mets. And then we'll see. We're looking right now at both the Astros schedules and the Mariners to see as the Rangers try to get back in this thing. The Astros were to play 12 of their final 18 games on the road, which hasn't been a huge challenge for them this year. They are just one of 6 teams in the majors with a winning road record. The biggest challenge comes at home next week when the 2 teams chasing them come in. After the Rangers go in there, as I said, the 15th through the 17th, Seattle comes to Houston. Now, again, the Rangers will need that series they can't really lose because they need the Astros to lose and they need Seattle to lose. So one of those teams will be losing in that. Now, Seattle owns the tiebreaker with the Rangers after winning the season series 10-3. That was very lopsided. And then we can look at all the teams that are ahead of the Rangers. Just remember, the Royals are involved. And right now, the Rangers, let's see. So you got the Royals, and you got to look at Cleveland in these races. And so anyway, I'm looking at all that. But I'm telling you, last night was a lot of fun because Josh Young is getting big hits. Wyatt Langford had a triple in this game, and that was exciting. And that was what staked them to their lead. They get the 3-3 tie after the home run. And then Wyatt Langford gets a triple, and he's going crazy. And then the Rangers were able to get that thing 2-5-3. I believe they ended up having a 4-run inning. to get that thing to 5-3. And that was, man, that was big. In fact, let's see. Wyatt Langford had the big triple, and then Higgy, we call him, Higashioka, Kyle Higashioka came up and got a base hit, and that brought Langford home. Anyway, Rangers get it to 5-3, and then they hold on. Armstrong gave up a solo home run in the ninth for the Rangers, but the Rangers hold on and win that 5-4. Reminder, we will have Campus Confidential coming up at its usual spot right around about 35 after. All right. But I had been at that Rangers game last night, excited about the Rangers, and I thought that would be fun. And loving all these, my gosh, between our attorneys with Craig Cherry and Scott James, Johnson, Sigmund, incredible lawyers, and then get the great news that Schmaltz's, which had to kind of, finalize some things with my old radio show. The new owner at Schmaltz's is a fan, and Britt is his name, Britt Tolley, good dude. And they extricated themselves from the old radio station and have come sprinting over here to this show on the YouTube show. And of course, we've got the Brazos Landing. We love the Lindsay family. And of course, they will be doing a live show over there later this month, and we'll be telling you more and more about that. So, Scotty, lots of work for you, lots of heavy lifting. But the good news is we've got so many great sponsors who are coming over to the Mosley show. And it's tricky, man, because they were so loyal to me at the radio station. And for years, you just never know what's going to happen when I go over to the YouTube show. What happened is everybody's just said, we're with you. We're with you. And my man, Kevin Stevenson, I love you. He was at Ascension Providence for several years, did such an incredible job over there, and then helped bring Ascension Providence back over to the Mosley show. And then Kevin's doing something new now. Kevin's consulting. Everybody's trying to hire him. And in fact, Kevin's doing a podcast right over here on the Rogue Media Network, and that thing's getting a lot of acclaim. So we just have a lot of friends making the switch, doing some great things. And so it is fun right now. Now, a little breaking college news. I don't think I'm going to steal from our man Scotty, because I don't think this was what he was interested in today. But the NCAA found out that 3 basketball players at Fresno State and San Jose State, one of whom transferred from Fresno, coordinated to place wagers on each other's performances. Yikes. Now, there's one thing if you're playing, oh my gosh, Scotty. I mean, he's Johnny. I guess I was borrowing from and Scotty, we can always bring this back up in campus, but Scotty is so incredibly quick. Man, this goes back to some of the old point shaving scandals. Hot Rod Williams at Tulane, Headache Smith out there at Arizona State. This is really scary. And I say scary. I mean, we don't need to go hide, but it's scary in the fact that college athletics and the NFL and everybody and NBA is welcoming gambling more than ever. But it's really wild when you got players that are doing this and putting money on themselves, and we're talking about game manipulation. That is a huge problem. And the NCAA has permanently banned these 3 men's basketball players. 2 players from Fresno State, plus 1 former Fresno State player who transferred to San Jose State. Wow, this deal, and good for Scotty being all right on top of it as always. But listen to this. 2 of these players have been roommates at Fresno State during the 2023-24 season. And hey, if you're like, well, Fresno's kind of out there near Nevada, yeah, duh. That's what I'm thinking too. Maybe some of these places, San Jose State being the same, that have a little closer ties to Vegas. I don't know. If you're closer to it, does it happen these days with all the online and all the bookies and all the the nonsense that's associated with college athletics, it probably is easier than ever. They discussed over text messages that one of the players planned to underperform in several statistical categories during a regular season game. Robinson, Vasquez, and a third party bet a combined $2,200 on Robinson for his underlying performance in those categories. As a result of Robinson's underperformance, almost $16,000 payout was redistributed among those who had bet. During that same season, Robinson also placed 13 daily fantasy sports overline and underline prop bets, totaling $454 on parlays that included his own performance. He did not win on all the bets, but did collect $618 on one occasion. Goodness gracious. And then another bet on a player after they exchanged information. As a result of that coordination, Weaver also placed a $50 prop bet on a parlay for himself, Robinson, and a third student athlete, and he won $260. Imagine throwing away your whole life, your career, everything. And when you do this, especially if you get involved with bookies and sharks and things like this, you can end up going to prison. You can end up doing jail time for all this. But imagine deciding you're going to do a parlay on your own skills. And if you don't think this sends a shockwave, this was already happening, and you got those Iowa State players get in trouble, but they weren't, for the most part, the football players weren't betting on games. And in fact, the only thing they may have been doing in some respects were almost incentivizing themselves. Like I don't think they were ever betting against themselves. But when you start placing bets and parlays to underperform, man, you talk about like alarm bells, alarm sirens going off everywhere. This is bad. And this is going to make college athletics and everybody more and more vigilant, because it is so easy. Scotty and his buddies, I guarantee you, well, hey, we have a great sponsor that's part of that. Of course, these groups are above board. I mean, they have to go through all the things to get vetted. I won't even mention which one is sponsoring us right now, because we want to send you to that. But it's no shock that these student athletes at some point would go, what if I did this, this, and this, and this? And I bet, and I told my friends about it. Now, the problem is, just like all crime, and it's just like how sometimes crimes get solved by people in prison, people talk. You get 3 people involved with prop bets, and they're trying to do it together. How many people do you think find out about that? Well, I'd say quickly about 6 or 7 know. You got buddies. It's like the telephone game. And then you have the sites out there that monitor all this. And and I tell you what, for Campus Confidential, we'll get Scotty's take on this too, because I'm sure Scotty has thoughts. And he is in that first group. I think Scotty's age are kind of in the first group we would call, I don't know if Scotty would technically be like the native smartphone user. It might be a little bit younger than him, but I'm just saying, I just think the wave of people coming through now, college and everything in that age, that never knew what pre-cell phones were about. It's like just so freaking easy on your smartphone and otherwise to make these bets and do all this. And back in my day, Scotty, it used to be the bookies were on campus. He'll remain nameless, but there was a guy from my hometown that was a longtime friend of mine, was extremely smart, but he goes down to Baylor. I mean, really smart guy. But I don't know if he even finished Baylor. He became a bookie on campus, and I mean, he had large amounts of money coming through. And guess where he was living? Penland. He was just living in a dorm like the rest of us. Now, he was a couple of years older than I was, and I don't even know what happened. I haven't kept up with him over the years, but man. So it's not like gambling is like, oh my gosh, where did this gambling come from? It was happening when I was going to Baylor in the 90s. But it's just more sophisticated, easier to do, easier access, and in some weird sort of way, it was a healthier thing back then when it was done sort of, I mean, it was honestly, and I know it was kind of slimy to have like bookies and all this kind of stuff, but honestly, if you found an honest bookie, it was a little bit more, I don't know, there was a little bit more above board even with the bookies involved, especially if you had someone who was somewhat honorable and paid their bets and didn't get themselves in trouble and all that kind of stuff. But gambling was different for athletes back then. I say athletes, it wasn't even athletes. I don't even think the athletes got involved. Now it's so prevalent, Scotty, that like after the game the other day, Lane Kiffin was like apologizing for something they did at the end of the game that messed up the line, that messed up some bettors or whatever. And he was doing it to be funny, but it just shows you how much even the coaches, if you don't think they know, they absolutely know. Now, quick Cowboys nugget right here. This very morning, as we do the live show, and a reminder, we got Aggies going to Notre Dame, and the ultimate Aggies insider comes on with us at about 2:30 today. And Travis Brown will be on with us talking A&M, big A&M insider, KBTX. But all this we heard, Scotty, about like, oh man, like the Cowboys are so stacked at defensive end. I mean, they could afford to lose Micah Parsons because they've got so much depth there, and Ezeraku and Fowler and Williams, you know, and Brandon Nealon, and I mean, it just goes on and on. They're fine, right? That's a position you've got so much depth. Oh, well, guess who's in town? Meeting with the Cowboys. Guess who came through town yesterday? Jadeveon Clowney. Name ring a bell? Well, he was the first overall pick about a decade ago. He's played for like 7 different teams over the past 8 seasons. He's got 58 career sacks. Not as great as it could be for that big time of a draft, but pretty good, pretty solid career. How many does Micah have? How many sacks does Micah Parsons have after the other day for the Packers? Oh, yeah. His first 4 seasons in one game, I believe he has 53.5 sacks. It may be up to 54.5. Wow. But Cowboys out there thinking about adding, and Jadeveon Clowney came through for a workout. They're kicking the tires to see what he has left. Last year with the Carolina Panthers, 5.5 sacks, so he still had something left. And he was released by the Panthers in May. And so I guess he's been out there since then. So the Cowboys take in a peek. But, oh, man, Scotty, the team with the greatest depth in the world at defensive end out there checking the tires on Jadeveon Clowney. Other Cowboys news from yesterday involving the Cowboys, because the incident happened before the Cowboys' first snap after the first kickoff. But Jalen Carter, the spitter himself, who's now causing issues with the young people of America, and the Florida Gators are out there spitting on people themselves. Jalen Carter, the spitting Mr. Spit Take himself. NFL rules, in addition to like a $57,000 fine for spitting on Dak Prescott, they gave him time served. They said that he got kicked out of that game. They basically said he was suspended for that one game already. They gave him credit for that, and he will not try to suspend. He will not try to appeal through the Players Association. And he and his agent quickly got together and got with the Eagles to make sure he wasn't going to lose some of these guarantees he has in his contract. There are things he did, and in missing games could make him eligible to lose some of his signing bonus. I think they've agreed that everything's going to be okay there. And so he will be playing this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. So rematch of that Super Bowl, and Jalen Carter will be back in that lineup. So there are some Cowboy stories that I wanted to visit with you about here on the Matt Mosley Show, on our YouTube show, on the Rogue Media Network. This show, man, this week even, the Ashley Hodge interview, Scotty, is doing really good numbers. I noticed that thing got downloaded a bunch, had a lot of views, and then that Nick Harris thing we did, more and more people are seeing that. I think people are becoming aware of, listen, for the radio show forever, we did big name guests, we did big opinions, and we're going to be doing more of that. And so more and more you guys are finding us. In fact, I think over, close to 1,000 people, when I looked earlier today, had viewed that Ashley Hodge interview we did talking about Baylor stuff. And as that number gets passed around, that number will go up. But we'll have tons and tons of views out there. Our Doomsday podcast, which is also on the Rogue Media Network, that thing does massive views. And so we couldn't be happier with all of you guys for being a part of that one. All right, we are going to do some Campus Confidential, and I am excited to get Scotty Swingler involved in this. We'll do that next. On the Matt Mosley Show, we will do some Campus Confidential, and Scotty's doing several different things, and he could have stepped out for a minute. But we are trying to go to break where we will have some Campus Confidential in a moment. I think Scotty's doing some heavy lifting on things, so I'll keep it right here for just a second, because this is live YouTube. When nobody, oh, good. I think Scotty is available now.
The internet went out at Rogue for just a second.
Oh, so are people missing out on the Mosley Show?
I think you were still live the whole time.
Oh, good, good.
I was not with you for a second, so we're back.
No worries. I was, tell you what we'll do. Scotty's back with me. Let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
Have you ever watched true crime television and wondered, how did they get that story?
I can show you. I was a producer for 48 Hours on CBS News.
In my exclusive tell-all book, I'll take you where no audience has ever gone before. Don't miss out. Secure your copy of Killer Story: The Truth Behind True Crime Television today. Available everywhere books are sold.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
We haven't been looking for you. Wake up.
Hellhound Country, available anywhere you get your podcasts. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
All right, it is the Matt Mosley Show on Rogue Media Network. Thank you, Central National Bank, CNB. With all our great sponsors, Scotty, at some point, and this may be what you want, my face will be, you won't be able to see me. You'll just put them right in front of my face. I think that our audience might approve of that. And Scotty, I just texted you, take a peek. When you get a chance, the Baylor, within the past hour, has released a timeless icon of Baylor fandom. And that is, well, it's Growling Bear. Growling Bear, an old favorite that to me kind of evokes the Taff era, maybe even before. I think Sailor Bear is the era before that was my father was playing, more like the 50s or 60s. That would have been like Sailor Bear. I don't know about the 70s. But as you get into the 80s, I feel like that's when Growling Bear, maybe even back to the 70s, Growling Bear appeared. And so I just noticed that, Scotty, and I sent that over to you. I know you'll want to load up on some of that gear. Scotty, do you have as we get ready for Campus Confidential, we do it every day, around 1:30, and it's when we hit on several topics, and I'm hoping our studio's okay. And that Scotty will be able to join us. Oh, there it is. Campus Confidential.
I was checking out Growling Bear, Matt.
Oh, yeah, good. Do you like it? And are you familiar with it? Are you familiar with the Growling Bear? Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm familiar. When I was a young lad, very young, I had a gold Baylor shirt with Growling Bear on it. Let me see if I got that picture downloaded yet. We are downloading the photo here.
That's fine. I would say the one that was universally hated the most was the angry green, that Kelly green bear that came out in the 90s, I think. And I don't know if it's because it makes us think of like Dave Roberts or something, or maybe even Kevin Steele, but there was one that did not go well. All right. That's why Scotty's the best.
That's what you wanted to see.
Yeah. I've got a gold t-shirt.
Yes.
That has, Oh, do you have that one?
When I was a very little kid, I had a gold one with Growling Bear on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the gold t-shirt with the green Growling Bear is a good look, but I all those things right there look pretty good to me. Like, I wonder what the Bears are thinking on Nike. I guess they're still happy. I just noticed a lot of these schools lately are going to Adidas or making the move here in the past few years. But Baylor may be still pleased with whatever it's doing with Nike. But
now, Matt, which Bear logo from over the years is your favorite?
Boy, I have a hard time not loving the old school nature of Sailor Bear. I hated Green Bear.
I've heard that one called Nuclear Fallout Bear or Radioactive Bear.
Yeah, so Sailor Bear may be my favorite, but I love this bear. I've got zero, but mainly because it just brings back like the '80s for me. But I think this is a good bear. What about you?
Yeah, I think Zach Owen asked me to rank these the other day on his show, and I think I said Sailor Bear was first, and this bear was second for me. I think the new bear that they use in the current generation is a little too simple, a little too vector designy for me. Looks like an NFL logo, honestly. Looks like something a professional team would use. I think this bear is my second favorite, though. I do.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. It's almost like not a silhouette, but it's a bear that's so simple and is it monochromatic? What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
so kind of spare.
Yeah.
It's just not. There's not a lot to it, but I think that's what they were going for. So if that's what they were going for, I guess they nailed it. But man, that's a good look. Wait a second? Is that somebody we know? Is that one guy? Like the second guy from the left, that's not that Baylor PR guy like Cody.
I don't know these people, so maybe you do.
I can't. I don't think that's Cody Soto. It just looks kind of like him. All right. I really feel like you and I, Scotty, would be, because I could kind of be model stuff for my generation, and then the millennials you could kind of represent. And I think I could do like the golf shirts. And I think I need to quickly drop 10 more pounds before I start modeling. Some would say more than 10. So that's probably accurate, but you don't have to nod, Scotty. But I think we could do some good. I think we could sell some clothes for some folks. And by the way, if you're an apparel company out there, and we already have some that have reached out to us, and you want to somehow, get some of your stuff on. In fact, Scotty, there's a hat company that reached out to him that you were doing some things with, Scotty, and you had a Baylor cap on, I believe, here recently that was part of the what was that group called?
Hondo.
Okay.
Hondo Hats, Baylor baseball player that started a hat company.
Yeah, I like that. I know that.
Awesome.
I think, yeah. Okay.
By the way, I don't know who made this shirt, but I bought this shirt the last time I was in an FC Dallas game. Look at this swag right here. Look at this. Los Toros.
Is that Bulls? Is that for
that is an awesome shirt. So I'm shameless. If you'll sponsor the Matt Mosley Show, I'll wear any shirt you want me to wear, as long as it doesn't say Texas A&M on it. I won't wear that.
I mean, for the right amount of money, we'll get the Aggie War hymn with you kind of moving around.
I will tell you that asking price would be
pretty high. Yeah. But I mean, it would not be as high as for you to put something Longhorns on. I think you would put Aggies on before you put Longhorns, wouldn't you?
Nope.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nope. Yeah.
You have some kind of soft spot for the Longhorns.
My very highest asking price would be TCU. I don't think I can't even fathom a number that would get me to wear that.
People seem to think when you send your kid to a place that you're going to automatically start wearing that school's colors. And maybe I would have if she went somewhere up Northeast, or even maybe if it was somebody Baylor didn't care about, like if she'd gone to Georgia. Maybe if I was on the Georgia campus, I would have put a Georgia something on. I don't think that would have been a big deal. But a team like where she goes to A&M, a team that was a rival of Baylor's for many, many years, like that doesn't make any sense. I don't like, why would I mean, and she would think I was weird. If even if Baylor's not playing there, which they never do, and a guy, and the weirdest one was my buddy, and I don't know if I told the story the other day, Scotty. I may have. I thought the weirdest one was he's got kids that go to Auburn. They were coming in for the game, the Baylor Auburn game. He was my fraternity brother. He went to Baylor, and we bumped into him at halftime, and he was in an Auburn shirt.
Oh,
and it just didn't make any sense to me.
no.
Like, that's not your alma mater. Like, the fun of that is your kids who grew up probably rooting for Baylor, but they decided to go to Auburn for whatever reason. That's fine. But let them wear Auburn. That's great.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you don't need to put the Auburn on. I hate that stuff like that makes me view people differently.
Hey, well, let's see if this makes you view this watcher differently. William comments, Sailor Bear has to be number one, but hot take. In a way, the radioactive bear is almost so bad it's good. Like the old Toronto Raptors logo. Now, I got to admit, I think that Raptors logo is actually really slick. I really like the old school. And the old school, I like the old school Houston Rockets logo with the angry rocket ship flying. You know, I kind of miss those 90s logos. It was definitely a sign of the times. But I know a lot of people in my generation, Matt, feel this way, that radioactive bear is kind of iconic because it's so different. It screams 90s.
It does. And it felt like so non-Baylor that there was just this huge backlash to that. Almost like Boston University trying to use our interlocking BU. And by the way, I love that you're doing that, and it should inspire more people. If you're watching this on the live stream, I understand a lot of people get this after we're done, which is I'm still in my mind, I'm a podcaster, but this live streaming, I'm in my mind, I'll always be a radio guy, but that's okay. We're doing all these new things, but Scotty is able to take your comments on YouTube and then put them right up on the screen. So, if you hear something, you want to weigh in on something, Cowboys, Baylor, whatever, let us know in the comments. And even if you're trolling us or something, whatever, we don't care. We're fine. As long as you're there, as long as you're hanging with us. We got a lot of those Sikkim 365 people really enjoyed my visit with Ashley. And so we'll welcome a lot of those folks to come over. In fact, whoever's watching 365 Sports with Smokey and them in the afternoon, just start your day a little bit earlier. They start at 3 to 6. You jump on here at 1. And then at some point, if we get really crazy, Scotty, what if we could do like the two shows talking, like right as we go into the 3 o'clock? I could ask David if he's up for that.
I'm sure he'd love it.
Before
you
try,
love it.
He might be. I don't know. David and I, we're fine. We say hello to each other. Okay, let's do some Campus Confidential. Let me turn it over to Scotty for that.
All righty. Well, you mentioned Georgia, perhaps being a school that if you had sent your child there, well, I can put on some Georgia colors while I go to campus. Well, I saw this story, and I went to a kind of an outside source here, Mosley, but I found this story from the UT Daily Beacon. It's a Tennessee website that covers the University of Tennessee, but it's an excellent article about how NIL, rev share, all of these things that are coming into college football are hurting fans because ticket prices, especially in the SEC, are skyrocketing. So for 2025, Tennessee fans will pay an average of $170 on average to enter a home game. That is $40 up from the average last season. And then this goes on to point out, speaking of the Bulldogs, that for Georgia, average prices are over $270 just to get into a home game. And for Alabama at Georgia specifically, you will need at least $730 to get a ticket to that football game. Matt, I present this to you and comment my own. Part of what makes college football special has always been that it's a community event. You have these college towns, these college campus communities that rally together in a way that I don't think pro sports quite capture. Yet we're pricing out the community. So as good as NIL might be for athletes, and who knows about universities, this is not good for the average family of four in Knoxville, Tennessee, or Waco, Texas.
But that family is not getting to go to the game anyway. The truth is, in those places, people are in Knoxville, and I know what you're saying about Waco, but those other places you're talking about, people are waiting in line for season tickets forever, I would think. So I don't know. I don't know that those folks were really getting into the game anyway, but I agree with you. If there is a way into the stadium, they've completely made it tough. And I think even probably the student fees for I think that's a thing, at state schools, it's like $400 or something, let's say, for the season or the one pass. And then that gets you into A&M. I mean, my daughter grew up in a sports household, so that's a huge thing to her. But what was interesting is on that first A&M game against UTSA, no less, had 106,000 fans show up. They had 40,000 students pull for their tickets, which they used to have to go get in line and stuff. Now they do it online. And so my daughter, who's, we're paying a good amount for her to go to A&M and the full amount for the sports pass and everything, as a freshman, she only got standing room only at a freaking UTSA game. And again, they stand anyway for A&M, so maybe that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I get it. And Scotty, you'll find this interesting. My buddy who did send a daughter to UGA or Georgia, UGA, he told me that just to go for a simple weekend, find a hotel to stay, go to a game with his family, get a meal, whatever, fly home, because you're probably not going to try to make that drive. You're going to try to maybe fly, if you can, into Atlanta to then get into Athens. He told me just baseline, not even like, oh, this is going to be an extravagant type weekend to go with our daughter to a game at Georgia. He said 5,000. He said $5,000 easy. Just $5,000 before you even think about what's next. And that's tough, man. That's tough. You want to go see your kid, want to go hang out. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot, man, to most folks. $5,000. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it is. And, I thought that was interesting too. And you may be bringing this up, so we can bring this up whenever. But at some point, Scotty, let's talk about you had that story the other day about the new window for the portal, and the Big Ten's mad. I thought it made sense, and I thought it made about the most sense you could do. And the Big Ten's pushing back like crazy on this thing. So at some point, when it's appropriate, Scotty, let's have that conversation. What else do you have for us in Campus Confidential?
Well, from ticket prices to the yellow flags on the field, we didn't get to this yesterday, Mosley, but the Big 12 has suspended one of its officiating crews after they allowed, Missouri to punt after scoring a touchdown rather than a traditional kickoff because of a personal foul penalty. One, I don't know how this happens in a football game. I don't know how we forget that after a touchdown, you always kick the ball off traditionally. I don't even know where this thought that you could punt it comes from. I don't know how both head coaches weren't raising their hands like this, asking what's going on. Mosley, my question for you is, there has been a lot of criticism, even early in this season, not only of Big 12 officials who certainly receive a fair share of it, but college officials in general. Is suspending this crew a sign that maybe the Big 12 is moving in a direction to hold officials more accountable, or is this mistake just so embarrassing and egregious it's just a one-off thing?
What's weird to me is it is egregious and dumb mistake, but it didn't like cost anybody the game. Most times we're talking about plays that like are like huge game defining plays. This was just a sort of an idiotic mind lapse that in the moment, I don't think either coach even got mad about it. So like, I applaud the Big 12 for the suspension and the accountability. Like, I love the accountability, but like, I think there have been more appropriate times for a suspension. To me, this was just like some kind of weird brain lapse. And let me tell you where this comes from, Scotty. And I haven't read this. This is just what my brain's telling me. The reason they got mixed up is because on that 15-yard penalty that was assessed on the kickoff, so they move the kickoff probably way back if it was against the team kicking off that scored, or if it's the other team, they move it way up. But they moved it way back, I think. Okay, so you're kicking from your 20, let's say. Here's what happened, probably, is that you get in the mindset when you get one of those free punts is on a safety.
Right.
You do have the kickoff or safety, and somehow that got in everybody's heads, including the team kicking off. Felt like it was kicking it from so far back that they felt they went into like the mode you would do after a safety, which most teams after a safety, I've seen this over the years, will choose to let their punter just tee off on one. And because the safety kick, if I'm not mistaken, comes back from like the 20-yard line when you have to do a safety. So I think that's where the mix-up came from. But I applaud the Big 12 for doing that. I just think this is a kind of an odd time to do it because this was just some guys, unfortunately, kind of losing their mind. And I have a hard time thinking that when this happened, wasn't it early in the game, fairly early in the game? Like, I don't even really think it impacted the outcome at all. Like, I would have been sort of willing to give these guys a pass for just doing something idiotic and doing the suspension for one. Like, you remember when Mac got so mad in basketball about that officiating crew?
Yes.
Like, that was so crazy. And that was so egregious, some of that stuff, that, you suspend them for the next game. The problem is you would never know. In some sense, I mean, I guess the Big 12 could have come out and made an announcement, but officials in basketball do like 3 or 4 games a week. By the way, that's another topic for another day, Scotty, but that's something they need to solve, is that big-time officials like Kip Kissinger, and used to be the old guy that loved his hair so much that did a whole lot of like Final Fours and everything. John, what was that guy's name? John, the very famous Big 12 official. I just can't think of his name all of a sudden. But the NCAA needs to either pay those guys better, or whoever pays them, the conferences, pay them better, but restrict them from doing 4 or 5 games a week. It's dumb. It's too much. It's too much travel. They're not rested enough for games. And it's just a really dumb thing. And all they're trying to do is just maximize their income. So pay them some kind of wage that prevents them from trying to do 4 or 5 games a week. That's just dumb. That would be my thought.
Last story for you. And it's more commentary on a story we talked about yesterday. But David Cobb at CBS Sports put out a really good article. Headline, Florida, South Florida voting fiasco exposes how the AP Top 25 structure is formally broken. So we talked yesterday about Haley Sawyer, young lady who has an AP vote, who had an AP Top 25 ballot that is just not justifiable based on the college football results on the field. And furthermore, said her vote's just not a big deal because everything balances it out anyway. She's received a lot of flack over the last couple days. Cobb does a good job here pointing out, and Pete and I talked about this today as well. It is a little strange that someone like Sawyer gets a vote. She's a beat writer. She follows USC. I have not followed her work on USC. I'm sure she's excellent at going to USC games and reporting on the football team at USC, talking to Lincoln Riley, what have you. But it is difficult if that's your job to then be full, even if you're really good at it, to be fully researched, fully caught up, fully ready to put in a ballot by early Sunday morning. So what Cobb proposes is, why is this group the group that's creating this poll? And how do we either limit who gets to vote in this to people who cover the whole landscape of college football, or change the criteria? I told Pete this morning, Matt, Josh Pate, who has a podcast, the Josh Pate College Football Podcast, he should have a vote. He should have a vote in these polls because he covers the sport at large. Someone like Pete Souza or my guy Pete Mundo at Heartland College Sports. There are a lot of really informed people who cover the landscape of college football who aren't traditional beat writers, newspaper reporters, etc. Found that to be an interesting suggestion. Don't think it's going to happen. Does it matter? What say you?
Well, the whole thing has always been kind of embarrassing because to your point, you have folks voting on this thing that just have no clue on these other teams. And I even felt it sometimes when I used to do like those old ESPN power rankings. I'm like, well, I was covering this one game all day and focused on it. And yeah, I can go watch some highlights or something, but I don't have that great of a feel on these other things. So, I mean, it makes you look lazy. Now, I felt weird about like a 23-year-old, 24-year-old young woman getting like dragged across the country and people saying her name. And I mean, I feel like, honestly, we ought to be above that. Like, I mean, I know we want equality and everything, but at some point there's like, let's be smart and let's not just kind of rip into some person who's made a mistake here and has never really been known by America. I mean, it'd be one thing if this was somebody that had a big following like Stephen A or something, having a stupid opinion and everybody getting mad and backlash. But this is someone who most of America doesn't know, and suddenly they just get beat up on. And I guess the answer to that is, if you're going to vote, know what you're doing and everything. Here's what the AP should do. I mean, I think what you said is fine. I got no issue with Pate or anybody being involved, and some of the way they set it up is bad. But if you're going to compile this and it's still going to be the AP top 25, then help these people. Help them they've been up all night covering a team on the West Coast and been preparing and doing live stand-ups or whatever all day and didn't really get to watch much of the games. Like, actually send them some notes. Give them some helpful things or something. But then, of course, what would we do, Scotty? Then we would say the AP top 25, the AP is trying to influence the vote, and they told them to look hard at the SMU Baylor game or something. So it's a can't win situation. But here's the deal. I don't think she should be banned forever. She screwed it up. Hopefully she'll be better moving forward. But when you do something really asinine like that everybody notices, you get one warning, and then the next time it happens where you just have a completely clueless battle, you're out. Okay? That's the way I would do it. I would give them one opportunity. I'd give them one mulligan, because it's true what she said. First of all, the CFP are coming up with the big one, and I don't think this AP has any bearing on what they come up with. So in the whole scheme of life, it really doesn't matter that much. But again, we lose our mind over everything in this world. So poor Holly Sawyer or Sawyer Roberts. So what is her name?
Haley
Something.
Sawyer.
I think we need to go back to, as an American public, forgetting her name. And I'm good. I'm better at that than almost anybody in the media at forgetting people's names. So I will go back to not ever hearing from her again. All right. Was that it, Scotty? We good?
That's it. Thanks to Bobby B for saying that, Matt, you used to carry Big 12 Live. Give yourself a little credit, buddy.
Oh, for my TV. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Who's that? Bobby? Is that Bobby B?
Bobby.
Yeah. Love that. I was on that show. And one time I lost it's funny that Patterson and I are such friends now, because I don't ever think when Patterson that one week said some stuff about about Bryles, Bryles' brother had fallen and tragically died. I went on TV that week and I kind of lost it on Gary, like on live TV. I just went off, and I don't know. I guess I was so Team Bryles back then, but somehow through it all, now Gary Patterson and I have a really nice friendship. It is the Matt Mosley Show, brought to you by Central National Bank, brought to you by Ascension Providence, and then that Campus Confidential. Man, we appreciate everybody who's a part of that one. I want to remind you, coming up at about 2:30, right around 2:30, we will have the ultimate Texas A&M insider as they get ready to go take on the Fighting Irish, and Travis Brown will join us. Next, though, we've got visual evidence. He was there. He's at practice today. Cowboys bringing in a new defensive end. That is next.
Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And playing on Underdog, it's easy. Actually, too easy. I do it all the time, okay? All you got to do, find your favorite players, and you pick if they're going to go higher or lower on specific stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, whatever you want. And you can play for as little as $1. Let me show you what I'm looking at on my picks for this NFL weekend. First of all, CeeDee Lamb. Bounce back week for him after 3 drops against the Philadelphia Eagles. He will have more than half a receiving plus rushing touchdown. And then listen, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts both will also score, but with their legs on the ground. I've got each of them with over half a rushing or receiving touchdown as well. Those are my picks, and I did the flex option. So if 2 of those 3 happen, I don't lose money. And if all 3 happen, I make money. That's the kind of picks you can make on Underdog. So here's what I want you to do. Download the Underdog app right now and sign up with the promo code Mosley. And if you put in $5 with that promo code Mosley, they will give you $50 in bonus funds to play with to your heart's content. Underdog is the best way to engage with football this season. Millions have already won billions of dollars playing on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_HTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mosley Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with On It, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, On It has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness, brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss.
Matt Mosley Show, Rogue Media Network. And great to be with you today. Great to be with Scotty Swingler as well. Scotty, I told you, and we've got Texas A&M insider Travis Brown coming up in just about 10 minutes, and anxious to share that with you. Let's see, about 13 minutes away from that. And that'll be good. We had the news recently of the transfer portal being the proposal that it would open the transfer portal on January 2nd for a 10-day period following the CFP quarterfinals. It had been in December. It had been a lot of December. There are tons of teams either still in the playoff. You had 12 teams in the playoffs trying to manage the portal. Now this would be after the quarterfinals. There will only be 4 teams left. And Ryan Day from Ohio State came out and said he didn't like this, and the thought of trying to do this while being in the playoff is tough. Well, Brian Kelly from LSU had a comment on this. It's pretty funny. He said the SEC has pushed back on the Big Ten, saying they like the proposal and they think it's good. And LSU said, I'm sorry, there's no crying on the yacht. I mean, we got to get this thing set and in best position of this time to allow us to set our rosters moving forward. And the thought is 95% or more of college football will be set. They'll be able to do this, and they'll already be out of the playoff, not involved, and ready to move forward. And there's a 10-day window, and they already know the kids who are probably thinking about leaving anyway. And then that 10-day period, people will be leaving, coming, and so a lot can happen. It can be condensed, but it doesn't have to keep happening over a long period of time. And most schools will be, and as Sark said, and Sark said some dumb stuff yesterday, or in the last 48 hours. But Sark said something which is true. First of all, it's a great problem to have if you are still in the playoff when the window opens. Second of all, they hire these massive personnel departments. How many folks do they have, on their personnel departments that can work on this while the team and the ops guys and everybody is getting ready to play in the playoff? It's not the biggest thing in the world, but we do have the SEC and the Big Ten at odds over this thing. So we will continue to look at that. Scotty, I sent you I was going to send you the picture of, there it is. The Jadeveon Clowney had the news earlier today that former South Carolina great, the first overall pick. Of course, your wish is my command. My wish is Scotty's command, and he comes up with it immediately. There's John Machota, a good friend of mine, with the tweet, and there is Jadeveon Clowney watching today's Cowboys practice, high above the star. And so he's standing up there. He probably had some lunch or breakfast or whatever inside the club. There's a nice club there. Scotty, you may have been there before. Look at that Central National Bank. Thank you, CNB. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being such an enormous part of what we do on the Matt Mosley Show, and for coming over from the radio show after all those years. And Joe Nesbitt, Brian Fonville, Veronica, George Nesbitt. I mean, the whole group. It's a great group. The Nesbitt is a huge Baylor family, and that bank is owned by the who's who in American commerce and, of course, in Central Texas banking. And so we're appreciative to have them, and of course, Ascension Providence. So lots going on there. And I did love, finally, we can do it tomorrow since we're running out of time here. We need to get to Travis Brown here. But don't you love, Scotty, the fact that Feinbaum, the man who was trying to tell everybody that, this is going to be the biggest thing. Arch Manning is going to be the biggest thing since Tim Tebow, the biggest thing in all of college football. And he tried on ESPN, and I love this. He tried to sneak in. Well, I've seen this is a weasel move. We probably overdid it with Arch Manning. We really? You French? We? Where are you coming up with this? And to his credit, and I know sometimes, Scotty, there's some times that we're not pleased with Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. hip checked him into the boards and said, ain't no we about it. It's not we, it's you. You were the one that said he was going to be so great. And so, man, I find it so interesting that Arch and even Cade Klubnik at Clemson have been a little slow out of the gates. It's opened the door for John Mateer to start fast at OU, Sawyer Robertson to be great for Baylor, and some of these others to get their names into the Heisman race. And I think even for my Baylor brethren, I came out firing a little too quickly. I might have been too excited about that Sawyer performance against SMU, but I am ready to rev up the Heisman race when it comes to Sawyer. And I think the door is open, and it's time to start doing it a little bit like they did it back when RG3 was doing it. So I might have gotten a little carried away. It happens. Scotty, man, this will be fun to do. Right now, we're going to go. We got to take a quick break, and then we're going to let you hear from Travis Brown, the Texas A&M insider for KBTX, longtime sports writer for the Eagle. And this is going to be tradition on tradition. Some of the great Aggie traditions going up there to touchdown Jesus. That is a place where Scotty Swingler needs to spend some time. You go on that campus, in that environment, on that kind of weekend, it is great. and the Aggies are all showing up. A lot of them are going to be up there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll all gather around and watch on NBC as the Aggies go. So Travis Brown joins the Matt Mosley Show next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
All right.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Shades is your trusted partner in stage lighting, offering a wide range of high-quality, innovative products since 2015. With designs that cater to all needs, fast delivery, and affordable prices, we provide exceptional customer service to ensure your satisfaction. With warehouses across the globe and sales in over 100 countries, Sheds is quickly becoming one of the most recognized names in the stage lighting industry. Visit shehds.com today to discover top-tier stage lighting solutions and become part of our global network.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Chapellex is a full-category shapewear brand dedicated to providing women with exceptional comfort and support. We offer thoughtfully designed solutions that blend style with functionality, empowering women to feel confident and at ease every day. Chapellex is redefining what it means to have a perfect body. Our mission celebrates body positivity, embracing every shape and size, because true beauty lies in authenticity. Visit shapellx.com today and join a movement towards self-love, acceptance, and confidence.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus flower rolls. The green Lotus roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
All right, it is the Matt Mosley Show on Rogue Media Network, and Travis Brown joining us now, KBTX, my old colleague from ESPN Dallas. He's been with the Star Telegram and really an award-winning writer there for the Eagle and Bryan College Station. But now he's gone TV. And Trav, I can tell you're thin. You got a great look about you. You got a nice background there. So thank you, buddy. You're like right on set. So now that I'm doing YouTube, I'm going to have to get like you and really clean up before some of these interviews. But appreciate you being on with us today.
Hey, you got it. The magic of TV isn't all here. I don't think there's any air conditioning in this room. So when I start sweating profusely, I'll have my makeup people come in and, powder.
Touch you up, yeah. And with some of these aggressive questions I have for you, you will start to sweat at some point. But yeah, that's nice. And you got a big, as we do this, you're getting ready for another big one of those SEC teleconferences. I got to say, Trav, two schools, this is fun, A&M going to Notre Dame. And, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. You asked Mike Elko on Monday a question about, planning these games out in advance. It'll be really interesting now to see how the SEC approaches non-conference scheduling now that they're going to play these 9-game schedules. I don't know what you guys are going to talk about because that's been a long time talking point. Is SEC going to go to a 9-game schedule? You finally decided that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of these games moving forward. As you pointed out, this was a home and away with Notre Dame that was started to be formed more than a decade ago. And now that it's here and you have, Notre Dame's a top 10 team, A&M's wanting to be a top 10 team and maybe headed in that direction, who knows? But this is fun in terms of are there two? I'm sure Michigan and Ohio State would want to get involved in the conversation, but I don't know if there are two more schools in the country that value their own traditions more than A&M and Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's more on the past. A&M just has so many interesting traditions, and of course that's based on many, many years of all that being around. And I was on campus recently and just even seeing the graveyard for the dogs, for Reveille, the cemetery. I'm like, my gosh, there's something interesting around every corner. What do you? That's got to excite you as you get ready to go cover this game. That two schools that have this much tradition getting together. This feels like something that should happen now, I'm not saying they have to play every year, but this is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, well, it is one of the most exciting non-conference trips that I think A&M has taken in a long time. Maybe going back, and this is probably going to, trigger warning to any A&M fans listening to this, but maybe 2017 going to play UCLA at the Rose Bowl is pretty exciting. That one didn't turn out so great for the Ags. Kind of for us DFW people, kind of a game 6 moment there. I think it's a good matchup. It's one that was played multiple times down in the Cotton Bowl in the 80s, and I'm excited to go up there, see some touchdown Jesus, see some Notre Dame Stadium. They have some really restrictive media policies, so that'll be fun to navigate in this fun new world of college sports. Going back, you kind of mentioned at the beginning, the questioning of the story I'm going to write later this week. This game was scheduled in 2014 by Eric Hyman, then athletic director at A&M. And since then they've had, what is it? Now they're on their 3rd athletic director, their 3rd school president, their 2nd chancellor, their third head coach. Since then, there is the transfer portal, there is NIL, there's revenue sharing. All of this stuff didn't exist when this game was put on the schedule way back when. And so it is an interesting piece. I mean, even then, the college football playoff was just in its first year. So interesting to see how these things, no other sport in the world schedules out like this. And so it'll be interesting to see this kind of finally come to fruition in the landscape that both these schools and just the whole sport occupies right now.
And the fact that Mike Elko was there, he was at A&M, goes to Notre Dame, goes back to A&M. He's walking an interesting line, isn't he, this week? Because it's like he does not want to overdo this thing and go, and he did not want to do the whole nostalgia thing. Notre Dame, obviously he has an appreciation for college, the history of that place. But I also thought it was interesting that when one of your colleagues tried to kind of interject a thought like, do you look back on last year's Notre Dame game and boy, what a great crowd, what an incredible opportunity, and A&M loses that game. And the question was asked, do you kind of look back and regret maybe not getting Marcel Reed into that game? And then, of course, I guess later in the season he did, and it sort of rejuvenated the fan base, the program, and everything, especially when you put a young quarterback into the lineup. It just has a tendency to do that. Boy, his answer was just no, right? He didn't even want to. It's like, that is all done. I'm moving on. But now that Marcel Reed is the starter, I was at that UTSA game. You obviously covered this Utah State game. Like, have you seen, and you got to see him some, you talked about restrictive policies. I don't know how much you got to see him in the offseason, but you got to hear from him some. What's the biggest difference in Marcel Reed is they get to head into Notre Dame, and then the Marcel Reed that was playing for the Ags late last season, who, again, we saw talent and saw some good moments from. But where do you see the biggest jump, and what do you expect from him Saturday night?
I think the passing game as a whole is better. I mean, and some of that is Marcel Reed taking the next step in his throwing game and being a little more accurate, being a little bit more fundamentally sound. But some of that is the fact that this is the year that they knew he was going to be the starter, and Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator, built that offense around his skill set. He kind of came in last year and was running an offense that was made for Connor Wegman, who has some similar traits, but it wasn't quite as mobile, wasn't quite as averaging 140 yards passing in those first two games. This year they're averaging 340. So there is just a greater emphasis on the pass game this year, and I think that is helping Marcel Reed because it's a pass game that's built a little bit more for him. I mean, you were at that UTSA game. They just bubble screened the Roadrunners to death in that game, and then it opened up every now and then a bigger pass downfield. So but the interesting thing about this matchup too is the fact that both of these teams have some of the best stable of running backs in the country. And if you look at the Miami game and then you look at the first two games A&M played, they didn't really establish the run very well. Neither team did in those games. So is it that the offensive line, the run blocking, the running backs just aren't quite there? They're loading the boxes, or is it just that both teams have been playing 4D chess all the way up into getting to this game?
Boy, it's interesting because Reed goes into this game, that freshman Notre Dame quarterback went into Miami and he had his moments. Talking about CJ Carr, he's going to face, that another question was asked this week at that Mike Elko news conference, is A&M, and again, it sounds like kind of a setup, and it gives the coach a chance to brag on his team a little bit, but is A&M, defensive line you? And honestly, it's a fair question right now because of what they're producing, and year in, year out from a draft standpoint. I think Mike Elko had the numbers. I think they've put out more than any team in the SEC, had more players drafted. Travis, you probably know this off the top of your head, but I was really interested when I was there at looking at some of those linemen. I always remember them by their numbers. You have number 11. I think there was a number 17. And then where I was sitting, I could look down and see all their parents, like where all their parents were sitting on that second, third row where they put all the parents' families and everything. But the D-line, if A&M has an identity, and we're still waiting on this year's identity to really form, although, man, some of those receivers are really impressive. But the D-line is kind of where it starts and ends with the Ags. That Cassius Howe against Utah State, he goes 3 straight sacks. One series, he just completely dominates. Travis, walk me through. Is that the next great one for Texas A&M? And to me, he has, Myles Garrett, of course, is the standard when it comes to pass rushing, and he still is even in the NFL now for Ags, and Vaughn and some of the greats from the past. But okay, to me, this Cassius looks like he's got a little more girth to him. I mean, he's a big dude, but what are you seeing from him? And is he the next big thing at A&M?
I think he very well could be. I mean, and even Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett had 2 sacks in a row on Sunday, and when they asked him about it up there in Cleveland, he said, "I'm just trying to do my best, Cassius Howe." So he's already getting that spot. He's already getting platformed by the guy who is the guy. Yeah, I hadn't seen anything like that before, and we had former Texas A&M offensive coordinator Daryl Dickey in here earlier this week to kind of break down the game. And he talked about how not only did he do 3 in a row, he did it with 3 very different moves. One was kind of a power rush, one was kind of an up and under, blowing through the guy, and then the other one was speed around the outside. And it's that versatility that enables him to do it. Now, you kind of scratch your head and go, okay, well, maybe after the first, even after the second, you think if you're Utah State, you might move a tight end or a running back over there, possibly to chip or to double, but he got the one-on-one the whole time and put him down the 3 times. My favorite part about that is I asked him, he was laying on the ground, arms outstretched. It seemed like he was just taking in this moment, this immaculate possession, and asked him what was he thinking in that moment. He said, I was just really tired. But yeah, back to your question. I think he can be that guy. A&M the last year, they had guys who were supposed to be that guy, Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart. They were guys who were able to get to the quarterback. And if this was 2-hand touch on the quarterback, they would have led the country in sacks, but they just couldn't get those quarterbacks down, most notably Lenora Sellers over there in South Carolina. And so I think if he's that guy who not only can get to the quarterback, but get the quarterback down, especially when you get to some of these SEC quarterbacks that are strong and can run the ball a little bit, he certainly has a chance to be that next guy.
If A&M could get a win Saturday night, that's a big ask. You probably have the line there, Trav. I don't know how much y'all discuss lines there at KBTX, but I would think it would be Notre Dame by about 3 or something like that. I haven't looked at
Notre Dame by a touchdown,
by a full touchdown. Wow. I think that'll move down. And if I could get 7 points with the Ags there, I might take the Ags. It's hard to be, now I've got an Aggie down there, Travis. In fact, I just heard from my daughter, and she was headed over to the dining hall, and she was catching me up on things. I
saw the picture of where you were sitting at that game. You must have some connections down there. You're mentioning you're right above where the players' parents are. You've in your short time, you have formed some connections to get some good tickets.
I don't want to make too much of a deal of it. Did I enter the stadium through the Letterman's Lounge? I did. And the people, one of my really good friends played at A&M, and people down at A&M know him as Bucky Dusick. I know him as Will Dusick, and he is the son of an Aggie legend, Brad Dusick. And we lost Brad not long ago, but Brad was that first year Emory Bellard got to A&M. I guess he came after Coach Stallings. He moved Brad Dusick to fullback. And Travis, you can flash your credentials anywhere, but if you ever go through that Letterman's area, which is very nice, I'm sure you have been by there, but there's a great, as you go up
there, I did a live shot there. Probably you were probably in there while I was doing a live shot. We didn't cross it.
Well, there's a picture of Brad Dusick up on the wall with that long hair flying in the early 70s and playing fullback for the Ags. So yeah, I do have some Ag connections, and you know about some of the others that I know down there at Texas A&M. I have to say this though, while we're kind of on the topic of all this, like from Aggie's perspective, if they could pull off this upset and win at Notre Dame, coupled with like Arch being a little slow out of the gates and Sark saying some weird stuff earlier this week, like some really weird stuff, I got to say. That's like such a great combination for the Ags, isn't it? Like, it's like win games and have the Longhorns have some weirdness and chaos and some difficulty happening. To me, that's the A&M dream start to a season.
Yeah, and even if you look at quarterbacks, your boy down there at Baylor, it seems to be the best quarterback in the state right now. So Marcel Reed might be flying under the radar if he can continue to do what he's done so far with even just quarterbacks in the state. But yeah, it would be a huge win for A&M. You know, they haven't. It's been a few years since they got that stretch game conference win. Actually, you know, I'll cite my good buddy Robert Cessna over at the Eagle, who was my boss over there. He had a column. Did you know the last time that A&M won a ranked road non-conference game was 1979 against Penn State? It's been that long since they've won a ranked road non-conference game. So it has been a while since A&M fans can experience what it would be like to go to a ranked environment outside their conference and get a win.
1979. Let me think. Trav, you had not entered the world yet. I had. I was 6 years old, and the Bears that year went to the Peach Bowl. A&M would have, 79. Would Todd Blackledge have been playing quarterback for Penn State at that point? A long-time broadcaster. There's a possibility of that. And
that was a 6-5 A&M season with no bowl game. I know that for sure.
Well, okay, that's pre-Jackie Sherrill. Is that Tom Wilson coaching at A&M? Okay, all right. I did see that was, you know, what happens is, and people, this annoys A&M people because, like, when somebody like me who hasn't been down there since y'all left the Big 12, it's like all new to me, like the renovation, the cow field, and I'm like experiencing all this stuff. But I do like that. I think you and I might have discussed this on that hall of, there's one deal that lists all the great coaches at A&M that are in the College Football Hall of Fame, and there's a good number. But I think this latest change they made to get Mike Leach in, which will happen fairly soon, I think, in the College Football Hall of Fame, I think that could get Jackie Sherrill in, couldn't it? Like, I think there's a winning percentage tweak that they made, and that could lead to, I mean, Jackie Sherrill, who had an incredible career at Pittsburgh, A&M, later Mississippi State. I mean, couldn't that get Jackie in now?
I believe, yes, it did get Jackie in, and I believe it got Dennis Francione in as well, which a little bit of a not as extended period at A&M, but I think both of them got in because of the Leach 0.5% of a point or some whatever it was change.
Did he go from A&M to Bama or Bama to A&M? I was just trying to remember. Francione.
I believe it was TCU to A&M to Bama.
That's a bad. See, you just don't. Again, you start moving up too quickly, and but he at one point you forget about it. But Coach Fran,
it was the other way around.
It was the other way around. Okay,
and then to Texas.
Isn't that amazing when you think about it? But like, I just think about the fact that obviously Gary, your alma mater at TCU, gets and deserves all the credit for the huge what happened at TCU. But Fran did provide the foundation. The two of them were together, and then Gary got in 21 years there. And by the way, I had Gary on for an hour the other day. He will be on the field to go into the TCU Hall of Fame, so hopefully that will help some of the healing. But in true Gary fashion, when I said, Gary, did you talk to the new AD there at TCU? And he's like, Mike Buddy, I think is that guy's name. And he's like, yeah, we talked for 30 minutes, but nothing's changed or something. Like, so Gary, I don't think that as much healing has taken place as we might hope when it comes to Gary. Now, I did have this one. There were a couple players at A&M that grabbed my attention in a big way, and one of those was this KC Concepcion that came from NC State. And obviously with Bussy in the return game, Concepcion in the return game too, I mean, those guys are electric, and they've already had huge returns early in the season. And then, who's the other receiver that's already playing really well for them? Craven. Was a true freshman last year and has looked really good. But let's stick with Concepcion for a minute. Like, I would say A&M's had good receivers. They've had excellent running backs. You and I have talked about some of their skilled players. When I was watching just the speed, the catch radius, like, I haven't really seen anybody at A&M quite like Concepcion in the last decade. Like, and again, we got to wait and see what he does in the SEC and in these huge environments against like Notre Dame. But I got to say, Trav, A&M's had some great ones. Don't get me wrong. And Mike Evans down there at Tampa, comes to mind immediately. But Concepcion could end up as the next great A&M wide receiver. Am I reacting a little too quickly to early season games, or are you seeing some of the similar things?
No, I think this is the best wide receiving core that A&M's had since I've been here, and that's been 2016. I mean, they've had pretty good individual wide receivers. You think of Christian Kirk, you think of Anaya Smith, but even when Christian Kirk was here, it was kind of a one-man show for all those guys. The thing that I think, Casey Concepcion is the guy that came in with all the hype. He's scored a lot of touchdowns already so far for A&M. But I think because you have to pay so much attention to Casey Concepcion, it's opened things up for Mario Craver. He's had 2 100-yard receiving performances in a row, and that's the first time an Aggie receiver's done that since the first 2 games of the 2023 season, when a name some people might remember, Evan Stewart, did it, who now is up at Oregon because of the transfer portal. And then since then, it hasn't really, it's been really Christian Kirk. I mean, you look at, then you mentioned the return game, it'd been since 2021, I think it was, since A&M had a receiver who scored a receiving touchdown and returned a kick return for a touchdown. That was Christian Kirk. And so you kind of look at some of these big names that have been able to do things in the past for A&M, and in 2 games, Concepcion and Craver have already been able to hit those marks. You do mention that we'll have to see how it goes through SEC play, but Concepcion came from NC State, where he played a lot of Power 5 teams. Craver was at Mississippi State. He's already gone through the SEC. And in fact, one of the reasons why they went out to get them is Will Lee, A&M's top cornerback, probably top defensive back there. When the coaching staff asked him who was the toughest guy he went against, he mentioned it was Mario Craver, and Craver happened to be in the portal, and they went out and got him. And so, and then even beyond that, probably the guy that had the most hype coming out of, like the dark horse coming out of fall camp, was Ashton Bethel Roman. who probably is the fastest of the receivers and the guy who can take the top off. And then even beyond that, Terry Bussey is the guy. It was like the shiny new toy, true freshman last year, the guy that everybody wanted to see on the field, and he kind of worked his way in, and he might be like the fourth receiver. They brought in, what was it, 3 tight ends out of the transfer portal. Nate Borkirker and Theo Mellon-Olstrom are the 2 guys that seem to be getting the most reps and touches. But Amari Niblack from Texas has been in there, and he's even been kind of split out wide. I mean, I don't know how they're going to get the ball. It is actually surprising that Craver has had 200-yard games with how many guys they have out there that they should probably be getting the ball around to. One of the quizzes or things that was sent to me, questionnaires that I filled out before the season was, will A&M have a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,000-yard receiver? And between all of the running backs that A&M has and all the wide receivers that A&M has, I said no. And it's not because the offense is going to be bad. It's just going to be, I'm going to be interested to see how they're going to get the ball around all of these guys. So yeah, it is a spoil of riches for A&M in those positions. And at wide receiver, that hasn't necessarily been the case for a while, like you mentioned. For them to have this many good wide receivers, this many good targets, you probably do have to go back to the Ryan Swope, Mike Evans days with Johnny Manziel, because they just haven't had that much depth at that position group.
Yeah, I think that last time Baylor had a crack at A&M, Swope was the one who put a huge game on them, and I've seen him kill a lot of teams. But you're right, some great ones over the years, but Swope is someone, and I think Swope's he's either in the Hall of Fame or just went in the Hall of Fame, the Aggie Hall of Fame. So that wall as you walk in there is really neat. And the only biggest difference, Baylor has my dad played at Baylor. They both have beautiful Letterman's areas. A&M just happens to have an open bar in theirs. Okay, that's the biggest difference from the one at Baylor, I would say. Travis, love having you on. You got a teleconference to get ready for and to jump on. Love the studio. Love all the information you bring. And next conversation, I do have some. This will shock you. I have opinions on Texas A&M soccer, and just keep your eye. I mean, again, this guy's been there 33 years. I want to be respectful. But I've had my eye on this may be time. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but there's a coach at University of Houston. Just keep your eye on that guy. My goodness, they are having a lot of success, and they're beating big-time teams. Baylor beat the University of Texas. Houston had a big win here recently over a big team. So anyway, I know this will shock you, but I do have A&M soccer thoughts to share with you at some point, all right?
Yeah. Well, you can't rule out the Horned Frogs up there in women's soccer.
They beat the Ags 2-1, I believe, here recently. Yeah.
You look at the state of Texas in both women's soccer and volleyball. You got a bunch of ranked teams in volleyball. It's a good time to be a female athlete in the state of Texas right now.
I like it. We had a little balance there at the end, talking some female athletics. Travis Brown, my longtime friend, KBTX, and a great writer and broadcaster, joining the Matt Mosley Show. Thank you, Trav.
Anytime.